Hello, everyone. I am back with probably the last of the Halloween series for this year, anyway. Got a lot of layouts done. Played with a lot of older product and newer product. Got some old like partial leftover lines used up. Got some, like I said, lots of old product used up, which I'm super happy about. So, some of the last few layouts that I did, which are the first ones I'm going to show you, I use sketches following Christy's Beautiful Life, like 30 days of sketches. And so I'll show you the sketch that I used. And then beyond that, I used a variety of inspiration from Instagram to Scrap Squad on Facebook to some of them I just sat down and scrapbooked. It's kind of a variety. So first off, this is from the day 26. I just basically grabbed photos I wanted to scrapbook and then grabbed a sketch that matched the photos. So I didn't make it through all of the 30 days, but I just grabbed some of the sketches from that. And so this one was one looked like the background kind of had more of a mixed media kind of look. And then the three photos. And so what I did was I actually had found, so I was working with this old Fancy Pants line. That I actually used all up. I only had like 3 sheets of it, but I used all of it up. And I found this basic gray pattern paper. Again, very old. Here's the other side of it. But had that very like painted kind of whitewashed look that had really the same tones as a Fancy Pants line did. I'm sure they probably came out around the same time frame. So I used that to kind of match the background that was in the sketch. And then I did the 3 photos, but I kept mine a little bit larger because they were already printed and I didn't want to cut them down anymore. And then as far as embellishing, I really did kind of my own thing. And so I just did 2 strips of paper. And then I had some Fancy Pants embellishments that matched that line left. I had like a punch out sheet. I got quite a few of those used up and some cut apart cards. And then these were just old from my stash. So I probably got like a Hobby Lobby or something. I don't even know. Some wood veneers, American Crafts wood veneers, some sequins. So just lots of different bits and pieces from my stash and from that collection. But it's nice to have that little leftover bit that I had. I got that all used up. I used an overlay here. I pack up overlays that were Halloween themed. If you can see, there's like a spider web in the corner there. And so I got I don't know, 2 or 3 of those used up. These felt hats are so cute. They just matched her particular costume that year so perfectly. So that was a fun one. Hopefully there's not too much glare. Okay, so that's one. This one, the sketch was from day 14, and again, just had 3 photos, and then it had like 3, I think from what I could tell, like 3 pattern papers, and she had her scalloped, but I didn't do that. I just picked 3 patterns and layered them, and what worked out great was that this purple was actually the background of, I think this one? No, this one. And so between this page and the one I just showed you, I used up 2. So it was just 2 pieces of paper is all I had from that collection. So I used up the full 2 pieces, used some old washi, again, some more of those felt pieces. This was just a picture from their preschool class. And then, oh no, I did have 3 papers because I had like it was kind of like a cream, a diamond, like a very subtle diamond pattern. But then it just had like a row of these hats that matched this paper. So I actually fussy cut those out and I used 3 of them on here. And then what was on the back of that paper? That was the back of this paper. So maybe I did just have 2. I think I just had 2 because I think this was the back of that paper and then this is front and back. So I used, again, some more of the wood veneer. And so these will go next to each other in the album just because they're from the same year. And they focus on one of my daughters, her individual costume and then her preschool class photo. And so these will go next to each other in the album and that will match very nicely. So just did kind of 3 clusters of embellishments. Used some old glitter stickers that I had. in my stash. I'm trying to get those used up. And yeah, okay. Okay, so next up is some Teresa Collins product, some old product. This was the sketches from day 12, and it just had kind of a pattern along top, pattern on the bottom, and then 2 larger photos. And so I basically followed it pretty well. I used just 2 pattern papers. I think this is actually the same paper. And then I kept the middle, just the white background, where then I did some embellishing and I actually did some stamping. I really tried to pull out my Halloween stamps because I have so many of them, and tried to use them. So I used a few here and there. But yeah, this is, I think, all Teresa Collins, sticker sheet, chipboard. The buttons are from, I think, American Crafts from my stash. And then sort of the jewels and the enamel dots. But I think everything else is from that collection. And this takes care of one Halloween for one of my daughters when she was the plague doctor. That's what I was trying to think of last video when I was talking about photos I still needed a scrapbook. And she did this. She dressed up as that for 2020, so that was kind of perfect. So that was a fun one. Okay. And again, I just feel like having gone through all my product ahead of time, and really just knowing exactly what I had, what color schemes I had, what tones of lines that I had, that it, like, really helped. So when I grabbed photos, I'm like, oh, I know this particular collection is going to work perfect for these photos. And so, I don't know, that just it really kind of helps. So I'll probably do that with fall. I think that just, it really helped me just really like know exactly what I had in my stash and where to go to for certain photos. Okay, the next one was sketch number 9, and it was this sketch here, which had these circular photos on a square background. And this was actually a redo. So I actually did some redos when I was going through my Halloween albums. There were just some layouts I just wasn't a fan of, especially now that I have some actual Halloween product that matches the photos better. So this was one of them that I redid, and I actually added a photo because I think it initially was these 2 photos and then one photo that wasn't that great. And so I actually added in another photo and re-scrapbook these. So I was able to take them, off of, they were adhered on obviously, but I was able to pull them up and reuse 2 of the photos. And then I added in a third one that I still had in my packet of pictures from that particular Halloween. And this is, I think, a Simple Stories collection, I believe, that really is this color scheme, this orange, pink, and black. And it just worked out perfect just because there was like lots of orange and pink going on in the photos, and that worked out really nicely. So I did mostly work with this collection by itself, and then I did combine the most recent Simple Stories and Paige Evans collections. There was some intermixing here and there, but this tone of orange was really a lot different than the tone of orange like in this collection. It's a little bit more of a pinkish orange, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but you can tell it's just like a different, I don't know if you can see it very well. It's just a different tone of orange. And so I really tried to just work with this collection together by itself, and then the other 2 collections I combined because I didn't have any Paige Evans papers, so it was really just all the embellishments I combined basically with the new Simple Stories line. Anyway, so here I just followed the sketch that had like floral clusters on each section, but I did, and then like the title in the middle, I did a little extra embellishing and added some extra stickers and things, but for the most part, I stuck with that design. So I really like how this turned out. I like it a lot better than the layout I had initially done years and years and years ago. So happy to have that redone. And then this one was sketch number 6, day 6. I had 2 photos, basically a couple pattern papers in the back, and then some kind of like frames with some embellishing on the corners. And so I used couple I just did a little bit different, and I had one horizontal, one vertical, one horizontal. I did use a frame here, just ones I had in my stash. I think they were maybe jelly bean soup, and then I cut one here, so there's half here and then half here underneath the title. So I changed that a little bit, but then I kind of stuck with like the 2 pattern papers. I did a border strip in the middle there to divide those, and then I matted the white cardstock on one of the multicolored pieces and then just to add some more interest to the background of the layout. Love how this turned out. It was bittersweet to do because this is our puppy dog that we just lost back in August, and we had dressed her up one year for Halloween, and it was so cute. And she had this purple and green, so it matched this new Simple Stories line perfectly. And I just had a lot of fun with all the fun colors and embellishments and all the different clusters. This E does not want, I put adhesive on it. This E does not want to stick down. I don't know why. So this is a mixture. There are some Paige Evans products on here, I think, but I think it's mostly Simple Stories. So I did some fun clustering, just some flowers, used lots of enamel dots, used some of the brads. So. And then I actually have a double page spread also because I actually did a double page spread of those photos first, and then I found more photos after the fact because I didn't organize well enough ahead of time. And so I'll show you those really quickly just to get. So this was sketched for day 7. Which was a 2-page spread. I pretty much followed it. Had 7 photos, and if you want to see who these sketches are by, they're all documented on, I think, on her Facebook page, and where you can see all the sketches and follow along there if you want to. I think this is the right way. Yes. So hopefully you guys can see here. So yeah, so these are the first photos I did, and then like I said, I was going through and I found 2 of the actual best photos, which is the layout I just showed you, but I just used white cardstock and did some pattern paper all the way across, and I did use a border punch on this green paper underneath, and then just embellished with tags and the die cuts and things. So I did some splatters, some orange splatter mist. And use this little star die cuts and spider web up here. Isn't she the cutest? Look at that puppy dog. She's so cute. And I did some stamping with the Happy Halloween was a stamp. I used that in 3 places. Okay. So I got my puppy dog scrapbooked. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. I love how it turned out. And there's also, you can search on YouTube. There's a ton of people that are following these sketches, and it's so fun to see how everyone interprets them differently. And so I've been kind of watching them too for inspiration. This is from day 5, and it just has these strips, 2 photos, and strips along the bottom too. And this is from Kristen Lippelman, is who did this sketch. And I had so much fun with this. I had 2 of the transparencies from Paige Evans Halloween line from last year, and I have 1 full one left, but I did use up 1 full one between cutting it apart for different layouts. And so I did use some scraps from that here amongst just lots of scraps from all the different pattern papers, mostly from Simple Stories. There might be a couple others in there that are like the brighter tones. I know that there's some Paige Evans die cuts and things on here too. And then so these are from Paige Evans here. I think both of these were. No, this was from, I think, Bo Bunny. I had some in my stash, and then these are Paige Evans. And then I just went and grabbed any of the little pieces of candy because the pictures are of her, just looking into her candy bag. She was like, it was just a funny picture, 2 funny pictures. And this is actually a redo as well. I'd already scrapbooked these photos. I didn't like the layout and thought, I could do those photos so much more justice. And so this is also a redo. Use these frames from Paige Evans sheet, but I just tucked in all these little pieces of candy into these strips along with some of the enamel shapes and enamel dots. So there's just lots of little details in there, and that was a lot of fun to really use up a lot of those little candy pieces And then I also tucked them into all the different clusters around here. There's lots of candy themed product in there as well. I love this one. It's so fun. And she had a purple jammies on and an orange bag, and so it just really worked really well with this collection. And so again, another redo that I'm really glad that I did. I think I'll enjoy these photos so much better on this layout than I did the other one, which I had done years ago. I mean, you know, another redo as well. And what I did was I saved what I could. Like if I still liked the paper, but just would we use it in a different way, I kept the old layouts and just took the photos off. So if I need to, pull any of the old embellishments off or anything, I can. Like I just kind of put them with my scraps. And but these photos were so fun, and she had this pink jacket on. So I'm like, you know what? I have some pink Halloween product now, so I'm going to re-scrapbook those. And took advantage of some of the really cute like spiders and things like that. And this was just a picture of a little hat she made in preschool. And this is at Paige Evans, transparency, and then some layers from the Simple Stories. I don't think this is from a sketch. I think I just scrapbooked this, I think. So there's kind of a close-up look at the clusters. Okay. And then this was from sketch from day 8. Now I really, really, really tried to do these offset squares, and I just couldn't do it. I didn't love the look of it. Maybe it was just whatever papers I was using or the size I was using. I don't know. I also had 2 photos. Like here, there's a photo and then like a journaling block there. So I just followed that same thing. I just decided to keep my squares. They still outline each other, but I just put them straight, and that it's okay. It's okay to like change a sketch to make it how you want it. So that was from day 8. And so I just did the transparency along the top here. Left a little bit of white at the top there. And really just kind of embellished along a diagonal there with lots of florals and brads and die cuts and lots of just fun bits. So there's that one. And I think that's pretty much an entire Halloween. I think there's only 2 photos I had from that particular Halloween. We got into Disney World that year, and the girls had princess outfits that they had worn in Disney World, and we had got home like maybe the day before Halloween. So we had so much candy from Disney trick-or-treating at Disney World. So we just they still wanted to trick-or-treat with our friends, but it was like I had taken so many photos like the 2 weeks before that I just snapped a couple shots of them in their outfits and with their friends and called it good, because I had so many pictures of them in those outfits from that year. And those are in my Disney albums. So this is from day 11, and this one has kind of like 3 like sections there, and then a photo in the top left, and then like journaling or whatever in the bottom right. And so this one I actually scrap lifted Jessica Michaels, who also does one of the sketches that I didn't actually get to. But she had done this particular sketch, and I pretty much just scrap lifted her. She has a YouTube channel where she did this, and I did a few things differently, but I did some stamping in the background. But I really did it very similar to how she did her layout, pattern papers and everything. So I had just one photo here, just a photo of me and my girls at a haunted walk thing, a big place that has a bunch of Halloween festivities. And it was just a fun picture, but we had like that bright green in there, and it was just a fun photo. So I wanted to get that scrapbooked. And so I just did that for the photo, did some embellishing around, tore some papers and layered them, and then did a little cluster down here with the title and some more just embellishing. I just used one of my bat stamps and kind of just put them on the background a little bit. And yeah, like how that one turned out a lot. Okay, now we are to some older product. Um, uh, I worked with a couple pink paisley lines that worked really well together. I think this is actually um, the Rana Farrer one, maybe. So I'm getting into some older collections here. I may not remember every single one. I did these a while ago. I've been scrapping Halloween for a good, probably solid month now. So, um, but this was one where me and my best friend Angie went to again, one of those haunted, like, things that was outside, but that you walk through and they scare you. And we had some really fun pictures from that night, waiting in line, and just from just the night itself. And so, yeah, this is from a sketch. I don't remember who it was from, but it had, I think, three photos here and then 2 photos up there. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember where the sketch was from, but it was kind of neat to just put just a different design of where to have the photos. But I just had one of these kind of collage papers in the background, and that was basically the only paper I used besides paper to mat. And then I used a bunch of the sticker sheet stickers and some of the die cuts and things. Okay. And this might be, I know I played with Chillingsworth and, oh my gosh, another pink paisley line. I can't remember now, that had that, like, that brighter green color. It was an older collection. It's staring right at me. Let me look at it really quick. It's called, maybe, Hocus Pocus. So it's like Hocus Pocus and Chillingworth both had very similar color schemes. And I know some of these things are, like, I know this is from my stash. I'm not for sure where that's from, but this paper was so fun. I don't think this is Teresa Collins. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah. I love that I just took advantage of the background paper. Already had lots of really fun designs on it, and just kind of focused on the middle. I did a sticker kind of across the bottom and a layer of paper underneath as well. And then some blocks of paper here. So lots of layers of papers and stickers and those kinds of things. There's some close-ups there. You know, it's just a haunted house and pictures from a haunted house. Pictures aren't great just because it was dark, but there's actually these 2 like zombie figures that came up and got into our photo like last minute, kind of scared the girls, and that was fun. So those were some fun pictures I wanted to get scrapbooked. Okay. And then this one was from, gosh, 5 years ago. Just a fun picture of my daughter, one of her friends. They'd taken a selfie together and used a fun Halloween filter, probably from Snapchat or whatever. And so I've always loved this photo and wanted to scrapbook it. And so I just pulled, she had purple on and she had black on, and there was orange in the pumpkins. And so I just pulled those colors. I think this is pink paisley too, I think. And I know this is a sketch, I think, from Scrap Squad, maybe. But just tore this paper. I used a border strip that I had in my stash just to go underneath there and divide between the 2. And then embellish, just a little embellishment section down here. And then she happened to have butterflies on her shirt. And so in the sticker sheet had these butterflies, which kind of worked perfect for that. And just used some sequins and lots of stickers and things, and some old brads from my stash. Those are old brads. I think we're maybe making memories, maybe, or maybe, no, I think they were maybe Hobby Lobby. I don't remember for sure, but those are fun. Did a lot of I pop up a lot of stickers as well. So that was a fun one. And then I worked with the pink paisley line. What's it called? What's it called? I never find a branding strip like right off the bat, it seems like. Spellcast. And it is, I don't have a lot of it left. I used up quite a bit of it, but it's just this really pretty, I see it's kind of stuffed in there. And this is what I have left of it. So not a lot. And it's just this really pretty collection that is, has like darker oranges and some navies and black and burgundy and like a darker green. And so I just, when I had some photos where my daughter was wearing this, kind of this pinkish, color of jacket, and I love that this line had that same color in it, so these worked out perfect. And so this was just a single page picture of just two of the photos of them in that same Knocker Woods place. It's really cool. It's a place that you go to, and it has you basically walk through like a cornfield and some kind of woodsy area, and these people, you know, these things come out and scare you, and it's dark and it's creepy and it's just a lot of fun. And they have other things too, but that's like the main attraction. And so we've gone there a few times, and my daughters have gone there with friends. And so just this is always like the big photo up there is with this creepy thing. And so I just wanted to scrapbook that, and I did a little cluster up here with some stickers and a tag. I used some twine from my stash and just kind of embellished around the photos there. Love this background paper. It was perfect. I didn't do any of that. That was already how the paper was. I just added this strip of paper here and then a couple little strips in between there as well. Hope it's not distracting having the layouts underneath it. I guess I'll have to look and see how that looks. And sometimes I put them to the side and sometimes I just pull from the pile. So hopefully it's not too distracting. I'll have to look and see if it is. I apologize. So this one, same collection, same night. I took tons of photos. I had taken my daughters and one of their friends, and I just took a ton of pictures that night because everyone was so cute. We had the hot chocolate, we had the cute hats and the coats and everything. It was just a fun night to take lots of fun pictures. And so I scrapbooked I got all of those scrapbooked from that night. Well, there was two more of me and my youngest daughter that I need to scrapbook yet, but just a couple of pictures of the two, my daughter and her best friend at the time, and just had these really cute pictures of them together and drinking their hot chocolate. This was a sketch from, I think, Scrap Squad. Had like these strips there, and then I actually fussy cut the flowers from one of the pattern papers and used some old embellishments I made years ago from my stash. And so I got to use up a lot of product on here, but I loved, this is one of the benefits of taking Vicki Booten's classes is, even though I do not like fussy cutting, I realize how much I love it after I've done it and incorporated the product onto my pages, and how it can really bring a sheet of paper to life in a different way. So I really try to catch myself and like look through lines as I'm playing with them and say, are there any of these that I want to set aside and I actually want to fussy cut flowers or butterflies or whatever from. And so here I did that, and I love how it turned out because I didn't have a ton of like die cuts and things with this line. So I thought that turned out really nice. Incorporated some of the stickers in chipboard. There's a frame piece there where I journaled inside, and again, in the middle, I used some of the washi stickers and title there. So, same collection still. Again, this was this is a 2-pager. See if I can get it all on screen here. And this is another pattern paper that I fussy cut butterflies from, and didn't embellish this one a whole lot. There were a lot of photos. The paper had this really beautiful like nighttime, like moon and clouds scene. So I wanted that part to show. So I kept that open and then used some other pattern papers vertically. And then that kept that navy blue I made sure that navy blue came over to the side as well. And then used some of the vellum, multicolored vellum strips just to bring in some other colors as well. And then did some embellishing. And so I just used like letter stickers. I put some letter stickers underneath the butterflies and used some bling and really some of the cut apart cards. And that was about it. I didn't do a whole lot of embellishing with this one just because it was so photo heavy. So that was fun. Okay. Okay, so we are back to, I think, some of the pink paisley lines that had like that really kind of brighter green. And this was definitely, actually this paper was from that line I was just showing you. And then I just, because it was a very neutral background, it could kind of really go with lots of different paper lines. So this one was from that same night, but just was from a different part of the area. That was like a zombie SWAT thing where we got on like a trailer and we actually shot at zombies. And so I just taken a picture of us waiting in line for that. And here I use a ton of product from my stash. So what I did was, if I was using bits and pieces of this collections that I had left over that I showed you when I did my stash share, I just pulled my tubs of all my loose embellishments and loose sticker sheets and those kinds of things, and then just grabbed things that matched. And so this is a huge, like, we have some American Crafts here. We have, this was like a pack from like Michael's or something. Some die cuts from, I think, this collection, which I'm not for sure which one it is. I think it's one of the pink paisley ones. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. Just lots of different, this is my mind's eye. That is an old, maybe from that DreamWorks little punch out book. This is a huge variety of stash on this one, which is fun. Okay. And then this one is also pink paisley. And this one has lots of photos on it. So it has 3 kind of larger photos, and then I have 2 smaller photos here. And again, I also pulled in lots of extra stash. So I use lots of pieces from the collection itself, but then all these glitter pieces, there's like a glitter tag here, glitter kitty cat there. These glitter tags here. There's a glitter tag down here. I think those are all old, I think, Making Memories, if I remember correctly, from that I've had in my stash. And this title here too, that I had in my stash for forever. And then I know there's some pieces from the actual collection itself, but there's a lot of this is just from my stash. So that turned out really fun. And the reason I chose this particular paper was because my daughter had this red hat on. Everything else was like green and dark. And then my daughter has this bright red hat on, which is fine. But this particular pattern paper it's actually, I think, kind of 2 tones of oranges, but this particular orange looks really reddish. And so I just took advantage of that more reddish look to that color, helping tie in this red hat that was very bold in the photos. And so you'd think I'd have my girls trained to like wear Halloween colors for Halloween pictures, but they don't listen to me on that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I think it worked out fine. I think it all meshes really well. So, yeah. Okay. And then this one is, some old Cosmo Cricket. I just had a few pieces of paper left from a really, really old collection of theirs. Had a few random like cut apart cards and things that I found in my stash. And so I got a bit of that used up. And it worked out perfect because these particular photos are actually of my daughter from just like last year, I think. And they were at like a haunted place. And some kind of walkthrough place. I need to get details from her. That's why I haven't journaled yet. But she sends me pictures all the time and I love it. But when the picture that she sent me, the main picture was of her of this Happy Halloween partner photo op. And then just I had this fun picture of them, her and her friend walking together. Someone had taken that picture of them and she sent that to me. I thought that was really fun and artistic. And because you can see just a really fun, like, trees and things in the background. It might have been like a zoo walker. I don't remember what it was for sure. Anyway, so the Cosmo Cricket paper worked perfect because it has a little bit of that Western kind of vibe to it. And the color tones were really perfect with like kind of the more browner tones and cream colored tones. So I use a lot of Cosmo Cricket, but then everything else is like a whole bunch of random stuff from my stash. I think these are Martha Stewart. I think these are Fancy Pants. Some random die cuts from my stash, American Crafts, wood veneers that I would have gotten from like TJ Maxx or something. So lots of variety stash wise. I did some roughing up of the edges and, yeah, that was really fun to make and to get some old stash used up. Another one that's very, very old. stash. Can't remember what paper this is for sure. But the reason when I was going through my papers was I knew I wanted to focus on jack-o'-lanterns because that's what the pictures were. But then my daughter was wearing this blue shirt, and if you can see, this like netting looking design is that exact color of blue of her shirt. And so it's in both corners and it's in all the corners. So I'm like, that's perfect. And it's orange, which matches the pumpkin. And so I just went through and grabbed some pumpkin themed pieces from my stash, and I had these flowers from, I think, We Are Memory Keepers, and some wood veneer that I'm not for sure where it was from. They were self-adhesive, so I think that they were maybe like a Hobby Lobby pack or something. I'm really not for sure. Some of these old embellishments I made years ago using scrapbook paper, and there's mesh and some book papers from like old books that I just made these little embellished. So I just used a bunch of those up. I had a bunch of those that I had made and not used, and so I was glad to get a bunch of those used. And I used a transparency. I think this is probably my mind's eye, an old transparency that had just an orange flourish on there, and so I used that on the photo. And that's about it. Just kind of did like an L shape and then did a little cluster at the top. So I kept that pretty simple. So there's that one. And this one was just from pictures from last year. We did a haunted road rally, which we've never done before, and it was the first time, and it was so fun. And so I had just taken some pictures of that night. And this was a sketch from, I think, Scrap Squad. Gosh, I think Scrap Squad, that had just these. I could be wrong. Might have been an Allison Davis inspired sketch that someone, I don't remember for sure, but I just used, I did some, I did that class, the Allison Davis class. I had shown you, that I had printed out the class, the designs for, it was, Halloween layouts using 6x6 paper pads. And so I did follow, yes. So I think I did all those sketches. There were only maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. I don't remember. This is one of those sketches. And so I was able to use I pulled a 6x6 paper pad. It's from Paper Studio, and cut these banners from some of the different pattern papers. So these are all 6x6 papers. This one, then I just grabbed a 12x12 paper that matched just to give a divide between the photos and the banners, and then embellished with a bunch of just random things from my stash. I used some stamps along the background. I inked the edges and wrapped them up a little bit. But that was a great way to use up some old 6x6 papers. And which, speaking of, when I was putting things away, I realized that 6x6 paper pad from Paper Studio, and I had a 12x12 paper pad from Paper Studio, and they had different names, but they had almost like 90% of the designs were the same of the papers. So that was odd to me that they had a different name, but I don't know. Anyway, so I came across that with a Teresa Collins line too. I had a collection, and then I had a paper pad, and there a bunch of the papers in the paper pad were exactly the same designs as in the collection, but they had different names. It's just funny. Like, anyway, so I always wonder how that works. But anyway, use up a bunch of these old wood veneer pieces from that same pack that the jack-o'-lanterns were from. I'm thinking Hobby Lobby. I really don't remember where I got those, but they're self-adhesive and super cute, but I want to get them used up because they're starting to fall off the backing, and I just need to get them used. I think I have like 4 left. But lots of fun there. So all right, so that is it, you guys. I got a ton of Halloween done. So the status now is that I'm going to get these put away into their albums. I have gone through all my pictures and kind of put what pictures I haven't scrapbooked yet in their place inside the albums. And I might need to go print off a few more just because I used a lot of my really good photos that I'd already printed in my 6x8 albums that I did last year. And so I might want to reprint some of those pictures just to put on actual layouts. Because what I probably have left is the ones that maybe weren't as great of photos. And I have sorted out a lot of my duplicates and put those into a different place so that they are no longer in my Halloween photo stash. And then I have some I still have some photos that are still in my photo box just because they were ones from when the girls were really, really little. And I haven't decided if I'm going to redo some of those pages or not. But I kept them out just in case I want to sit down and scrapbook some of those. But right now, I think I am kind of burnt out on Halloween. I think I'm going to pack it all up and get it, get everything reorganized into my calyx units and figure out what I'm going to work with next. Maybe I'll move on to fall. Maybe I'll do something completely different. I'm not for sure. But I'm going to get these put away and get my albums set up, maybe set upstairs somewhere so people can look through them if they want to for the remainder of this month. And I might put some of these into I have 12 by 12 scrapbook paper frames down here in our living space. I might get some of these put into those frames. I haven't changed those out in a long time. I love that one so much. I think I might do that. That sounds like a fun project, something different to look at on that wall. And it matches the holiday that we're in right now. So it helps with the decor. So I'll probably do this one for sure, just to pay homage to our puppy dog that we just lost. So other than that, got a lot done. Got some old product used, got some new product used. If you haven't, I pulled these I just wanted to make sure I knew what pictures I had. And so if you haven't looked at seen these albums yet, these are my albums that I made last year. There's video on them showing them. But I did kind of sit down and go through these again. I probably need to sit down and journal some, but if I don't, it's not a huge deal. It's not hard. It's how important is it really that we know exactly what year it was? To me, it's in order. So it's not a huge deal, but this album is so fun to make, and I do probably need to sit down and journal just a little bit on these tags that I have. But it's I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I don't get to it, it's not gonna totally stress me out. But I did, I have these little tags in each section to journal on if I so desire. So, I brought these downstairs just because I wanted to check out some of the photos I had already printed and see what, if any of them I also wanted to get on scrapbook layouts. So here's my fun Halloween goodness. I'm going to get organized and put away, and I'm going to move on to something else. So thank you guys so much for watching. It was fun going through all my product with you guys. Then I feel like it just really motivated me to sit down and scrapbook and get a lot of product used up and get a lot of pictures scrapbook that have been sitting in my pile for a while. So we'll be back soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy scrapping. Bye-bye.